Hi everyone, this is Corey from Radical Health and I am going to talk about kale in this video. Now you've probably heard about kale as popular in farmers markets and in CSAs, but maybe it's new to you. So in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of kale. It's kind of interesting. Its nutritional value, ways to use it, and how to store it and what to do if it gets wilty. So interestingly, I remember when I was young, no one ate kale, but you saw it everywhere. And where did you see it? You would see it in the salad buffet, but not actually in the salads. They use kale to dress up the salad buffet, to put it sort of around the salad bowls to make it look all fancy, but there's never actually any kale in the bowls. And it wasn't until years later that I realized you could actually eat kale. And so kale has really risen in popularity, and apparently that was because of a marketing campaign done by like the Kale Growers of America, and they promoted kale as a superfood. Now I don't like the word superfood. I think all vegetables have their value, but kale is certainly a nutritionally dense vegetable, and for that reason it's a staple in my diet. It's full of vitamins and minerals, iron, magnesium, and phytonutrients. And if you get organic kale, you're going to get even more of that good stuff. And if you're wondering why, I just wrote a blog. It's on my website, radicalhealth.ca. So let's talk about ways to use kale. So obviously you could use this in a salad. It's a leafy green. So sometimes I mix this with other greens, put a salad dressing on it, throw in a few other things, that's it. But the nice thing about kale, its leaves have a nice like firm texture. It stays crispy even when it's dressed up with salad dressing, and for that reason it can handle a heavier dressing. So it goes really well with creamy dressings. I like to make a dressing with tahini, garlic, lemon juice, nutritional yeast, a little bit of olive oil. I make it, leave it nice and thick, massage it all over the kale, and eat it that way. I can even put that in the fridge and the kale will still stay crispy. So it's really, really good at retaining its texture. This is why it's also really great in things like soups and stews, really nice in like a minestrone soup. It won't just turn to mush like some other vegetables like collards or dandelion greens or spinach do. So it has that, firmness to it. And for that reason too, I like it in casseroles and lasagnas and so on. Another great way to eat this is just as a side dish. You can saute it in a bit of olive oil and garlic, and then right at the end add a splash of apple cider vinegar or balsamic vinegar. Tastes excellent. And you could also, if you're a fermenter like me, add some of this to your sauerkraut, mix it with cabbage, and it will also maintain that nice crunchy and green flavor in the sauerkraut. In terms of storing this, most people get it and, stick it in their crisper drawer in the fridge, which is fine if you're going to eat it in a few days. But this can wilt over time. All you have to do though is just give the ends a fresh chop, put it in a jar of water, and you will be amazed how it just revives and it gets crunchy all over again. So you can revive your kale pretty easily and eat it all up. Of course, you can't let it get too long. There's a couple different varieties of kale. There's curly kale, there's dinosaur kale, there's black kale, there's Russian kale. All are great. I find this kale as well as the black kale are a little bit crunchier, where the Russian kale is a little bit softer. So just keep that in mind, that there's different nuances to it. So you might want to use something that's softer, a little bit more quicker. And but stuff like this can store for a while and again retain a lot of its crispiness in a variety of dishes. So I hope you enjoyed this little video about kale. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have your kale recipes, please put them down in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for listening.